Welcome back to How to Craft Fair. Today I'm excited to introduce a brand new series that's going to show you everything you need to know in order for you to host and organize your very own craft fair. I'm going to show you some old school tips, some old reliables, and also show you some newer techniques so that you can hopefully have a melting pot of information so that you can take what is best suited to you so that you can become the best organizer possible. Today, we're going to be talking about creating a business plan, what that's going to look like, and setting yourself up for success down the road. Let's go ahead and get started. So you want to become a craft fair organizer. This is something that you can either do as a full-time career or something that is more of a side hustle. The beauty of it is that you can go at your own pace. You're going to be setting your own schedule. So how many events are you going to do per year? That's up to you. How large or small are the events? That, again, is your decision. So a lot of the attractiveness of being a craft fair organizer is that everything is going to run through you. Okay, so you make it as big as you want it to go, or you keep it, within the confines that works for your life and your situation. So there's going to be a lot of freedoms involved as a craft fair organizer. Again, with setting your own schedule, that alone is going to give you a lot of perks in your day-to-day life. You're also mostly going to be working from home. So I would say 95% of your work is going to be all of the duties that you do leading up to the event, and then all of the tasks that you have after the show. The day of the show is just that. It's one day, or maybe it's a weekend. So your in-person activities where you're required to physically be somewhere are going to be very, very minimal. So we'll kind of get into that later in the series, everything that's involved with that. But again, keep in mind that a huge perk of being a craft fair organizer is that, you're pretty much doing it on your own schedule, on your time, and you get to do it within the comfort of your home or your office or whatever it might be. Let's not forget that another perk of being a craft fair organizer too is that you essentially get to pick your coworkers. Okay, so craft fair organizers, they get to choose what vendors participate in their events. They also make the decision on where the event is going to take place. Okay, so your facility managers and your event staff, things like that. All of these people are people that you're choosing to work with. It's your decision. So being able to pick your coworkers and the people that you work with is a huge, huge benefit that not a lot of people are able to get. All right, so my next tip is to start small and set realistic goals for yourself and for your business. So even if you plan on being a craft fair organizer for many years as a full-time career, I would try to avoid the temptation of premiering with a huge show. Okay, so basically you don't want to give a 16-year-old kid keys to a Lamborghini. Not a great idea. So there's going to be a tremendous amount of work that leads up into a show. And then at the event itself, there's obviously a lot of work. And then after an event, there's a lot of duties and tasks involved with properly wrapping up all the loose ends and following up with everyone involved with the show after it happens. Okay, so you want to basically go through that whole entire cycle a couple of times before you start to really scale up the size of your events. Now, when it comes to goals, there's definitely some parameters, some like hard numbers that you can lay down to try to hit. So some ideas of that can be, okay, I want my first show to be a certain number of booths and I want to book 100% of the show. Okay, so meaning I didn't have any empty booths at the event. Or you can also look at your attendance. So maybe you want to hit like a certain attendance figure with shoppers that are coming through the door. There's a lot of different goals that you can set for yourself. Really, the path that organizers go on varies so much. Okay, so some organizers will literally only do one event per year and it can be like a huge show. Other organizers might book like literally dozens of different shows per year. So the goals that you set obviously have to be customized to your situation that you prefer to do as an organizer. But it is a good idea to maybe jot some things down that you have in mind, and then that's something that you can kind of look forward to and set your sights on to try to target and reach those goals. All right, so now my next tip is very, very important, especially to do this before you really get started with any kind of formal process. And that is to create a brand identity for long term organizers. So, if you're organizing like one craft fair and maybe you just do this one time for, I don't know, like your church or your school or whatever it might be, then that's kind of like a different story, But if you want to do this and you want to keep organizing craft fairs repeatedly, then one of the things that you should be doing is to consider making a catchy, memorable business name for yourself. You want it to be relevant, but not generic. Okay, so my name is John, right? So I don't want it to be like John's Craft Fairs, okay? Because there's probably like 5,000 people that have that title, okay? So you want it to be something specific because we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but when you start going on social media or you create like an email, you want something that's specific enough so that it's available to you, okay? And then also something that is a little bit more specific is easier for people to remember. So John's Craft Fairs, there's nothing really like special about that, all right? But if you come up with something that maybe it is like an ode to your city or your state, the location that you're in, maybe it's the type of craft fairs that you have. All right, so maybe you only do like upcycling, or maybe you only do oddities. That might play a role into the type of business name that you have, and that can actually help you attract the type of people who would be interested in that type of event. You should also think about what is going to make your events special. Be ready to share your story with potential vendors and shoppers, and maybe even the facility managers. And if you decide to work with charities or foundations, they might be interested in hearing your story as well too. So what inspired you to start doing craft fairs of your own? Maybe there's a cool story behind that and people resonate with that. And craft fairs are really all about connecting with people. Okay, so we get a little bit focused, maybe even sometimes on this channel, but I mean, all over YouTube and other tutorials for craft fairs, we get kind of focused on the looks of things. Okay, so how a booth looks, or how a whole event looks, or maybe even how some vendors' products looks. Okay, so it's kind of like visually focused. We're dealing with visual arts, right? But there's also the people behind all this. And part of the appeal in general of going to craft fairs is that you get to meet the makers and you get to meet all these artisans, and that's a really exciting element. So don't forget about that for yourself as an organizer as well, okay? Because I think that's equally as important. And again, the shoppers are going to resonate with that, and the vendors that you attract are probably going to resonate with that as well, because they know that it means a lot to you to be able to host this event, okay? So again, it's important all around, so don't forget about yourself and your story. Now, another tip that I'd like to mention is that if you are going to be doing this for profit, okay, so not for profit craft fairs and then for profit craft fairs, right? If you're going to be doing this for profit, you want to be sure that you're doing this in a legal manner as far as your tax status and your income. You just want to be, doing things the right way. So many organizers will create an LLC, or maybe they'll be a sole proprietorship, something like that for their business. But there's all sorts of different roads that you can go down. What I would recommend is that you do your research on what is going to best suit you. And maybe that depends on where you live. So sometimes where people live, that can kind of change things with how they want to set up their business and things like that. So whether you have to talk to like a CPA or somebody about that, I would recommend taking that part of this seriously. Again, especially if you are planning on doing this long-term as a career, generating potentially a lot of income. you just want to make sure that you're doing everything the right way from the beginning, because that's going to save you a lot of headaches down the road. Okay, and then now let's talk about establishing yourself online and on social media. So once you have an idea of the type of events that you'd like to host and maybe how often you'd like to host them and potentially how large you'd like to go with this, you want to reserve your presence online. And what I mean by that is your social media handles. I'm going to give an example with How to Craft Fair, okay? Because that's, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So, what you want to do is you want to have everything as uniform as possible. So, I reserved at How to Craft Fair basically everywhere. Okay, so I signed up for an account on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. My .com website is howtocraftfair.com. You want all of these to match, okay, because you're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to find you across all platforms. It's very, very important. That is another reason why before, when I mentioned you don't want to have like a really generic business name, for example, John's Craft Fairs, I guarantee that that is not available anywhere. I mean, I probably don't even have to look it up, and something that generic, you're going to have a really, really hard time matching that across all platforms. And if your social media handles and your email and your .com website, if that's all different from one another, people are going to have a really hard time finding you. And then now that's going to give you struggles and obstacles when it comes to growing your presence and your business. So once you've reserved your social media handles, to get yourself started on your accounts, some of the things that you can do is to make an introductory video that shares your backstory. Again, we talked about how people resonate with one another in the craft fair industry. That's very, very important. What makes you want to organize events? Putting a face behind your business name is going to go a long way in earning vendors' trust. And that's very, very important in the beginning when you don't really have an established history of events to kind of lean on. So when you're first starting out, I think it's very important to just be transparent. And I think it's okay to say, I'm new at this, but I really think that I can do well, and just be confident, share your passion for why you want to do this. And I think that that's going to hit home with a lot of vendors. So I would recommend putting that video out across all platforms. And if you don't want to say dive all in on social media right away, maybe you just want to start with like one or two platforms, like say Facebook and TikTok or Facebook and Instagram, whatever. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with kind of starting off a little bit at a time and going from there. But showing a video of yourself and introducing yourself, I think, is a great way to get yourself started and kind of get your feet wet with establishing your presence online. So for this first video, that's about all the detail I would like to dive in on this particular video, because what I want to do in this series is keep the videos a little bit on the shorter side, but really just pack in as many tips as I can in a shorter amount of time. I know that my videos can sometimes get pretty long, and I appreciate that you guys hang with me, but this video was all about introducing this series. First of all, we're going to go 20 episodes, but also just how you're going to build for your future as a craft fair organizer. It is worth the time invested up front to establish yourself legitimately and avoid all of the scrambling that you can potentially do later as an organizer. So do things the right way. Make sure that you're organized from the very first day and set things up the right way. And I guarantee you that you're going to be setting yourself up for success as an organizer. To check out all the videos in the How to Become a Craft Fair Organizer playlist, click on this playlist above. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it on this side right here. Click on the playlist above, and thank you so much for checking out this first video. I hope that you tune in for all the others. Have a great day.